The Salomon S-Lab Spine is a beast of a hiking and trail running shoe, ideal for those adventurous exploration days when you venture off the beaten path. It offers ample protection, stability and grip on various terrains. But does it justify its hefty price tag? Let's find out. Aloha guys and welcome back to another shoe review video. My name is Nandor, I'm a hiking guide and trail runner here in Hawaii. And today I'm very excited to actually review the Salomon S-Lab Spine. I do a lot of exploration hikes out on the islands of Hawaii, a lot of off-grid trekking on rugged terrain, bushwhacking, so I'm really looking for the best shoes I can have on these adventures. Most of the time I use trail runners because they are lighter and they have a very good grip on different surfaces. But as we know, there are no perfect shoes for this kind of adventures. You know, some of the shoes, the shoelaces are coming untied, some of them just not grippy enough, some of them let all the debris in the shoe, so I could not find yet the perfect shoe for this kind of adventures. The Salomon S-Lab Spine looks very promising. It has a lot of things I love about the pair of shoe. It's comfortable for long hours on the trails. It has a lot of protection, a lot of good protection, super stable on different surfaces. Before we get into talking more in depth about the shoe, let's talk about some basic specs. The Salomon S-Lab Spine features a zip gaiter. This is a zip protective cuff that wraps the top of the shoe around the ankle, preventing water, snow or rocks entering the shoe. Now the upper material, it's basically water repellent. It has a special treatment applied to it, so that can provide extra protection, ensuring that the fabric does not absorb water. The midsole is a comfortable Salomon foam. It's basically lightweight and cushioned EVA foam for performance usage. Just like the original S-Lab Genesis, it features an advanced chassis, which is basically a molded insert embedded in the outsole. This can provide strong lateral support and reassuring protection and provides optimal mobility and flexibility. The lacing system is the typical Salomon lacing system called the Quick Lace, which is basically a minimalistic and strong lacing for easy on and off. What makes the S-Lab Genesis Spine even more comfortable is basically the rock plate they have inside the shoe, which called the Profile Film. This gives your stride a smoother and more stable feel by acting as a filter between you and the terrain. The outsole features the all-terrain contact grip, which is built for the widest variety of surfaces. The heel stack height of the S-Lab Spine is 34 mm and the forefoot stack height is 26 mm, which ends up with an 8 mm drop. The weight of the shoe in man number 9 is 328 grams or 11.6 ounces. Let's talk about the upper of the S-Lab Spine. This is what it makes it different from other shoes. It's basically Salomon used a Salomon S-Lab Genesis and then have an integrated gaiter over it. If you zip down, it's basically you have the shoe and then on the top you have this extra gaiter. Now you see the inside, the blue, it's basically the water repellent material from inside, which unfortunately makes it a little bit hotter, the whole shoe. So if you are living in a tropical area like me in Hawaii, this will make the shoe hotter than other shoes. The upper material of the gaiter is pretty flexible, so that's a good thing. Could have been more breathable in my opinion. This is a little bit warm and it's not waterproof, so a lot of people complain that it's not waterproof. For me it's okay, I prefer if it's not waterproof. However, if it's not waterproof, I would expect to be a little bit more breathable, and this one is so breathable but not breathable enough, and it's not waterproof enough either. You can run and hike with this shoe through water and you're not gonna feel the water inside your shoe unless it's like continuously you are out in a wet terrain. That's definitely the water will gonna soak through this material. Yes, Salomon says it has a certain water repellency applied to the material, but after a longer time, of course, water will sneak in through your shoes, and that's what happened yesterday with me. It didn't really bother me much, but I guess if you are out in a colder temperature and then you go out in the mountains, in the snow, and you are too long out there and it's very very slushy, the snow, what's gonna happen, that snow slowly is gonna get into the shoe. The shoe is gonna absorb that water and then you're gonna get cold feet. So I think you have to think about that if you want to buy this shoe. As you guys can see, there's a lot of molded overlay around the shoe, which helps with extra protection. It has a really nice toe box. It's like super strong and then hard toe box, which helps you protect against rocks. If you look at it at the ankle area, it's a very nice rubberized, spongy little spot, which actually helps your ankle against rock bruises. The zipper part of the shoe actually looks very well made. It even offers some water resistancy with this layer over the zipper, which is awesome. It has YKK zippers, best on the market. There's one thing you have to keep in mind: if you live close to the ocean or where salty air is present, the zippers can get stuck. So really important that you wash off after every adventure your shoes. Wash the zippers truly, so no salt leftovers stay in the zippers. Otherwise, it will destroy your zippers pretty quick. So that's one thing you have to watch out. Now there is this other thing what will remind you of the Genesis is basically the active and advanced chassis, one of the sides of the shoe. This basically helps with protection and stability. A lot of people ask me about the fit of the shoe. Salomon is really famous for their narrow forefoot, right? However, this shoe it's not as narrow. Even if it looks like, actually it's pretty wide. Of course, it's not as wide as one of those wide toe box shoes like Ultras or Topos, but they are not as narrow as, you know, the Salomon Speedcross or the Sense Ride. Maybe a little bit wider than the forefoot of the Thundercross. So I found it super comfortable. And the sizing, it's true to size. I use 9 on every Salomon shoes, and this one works out the same perfectly. Comfort-wise, the shoe actually surprised me. When I read on the Salomon website, they didn't suggest to use it more than 1 or 2 times a week. This shoe, I was expecting that they'd say that because it's not as comfortable. But actually, it has nothing to do with that. This is a super comfortable shoe. And right away, in the first day, I took it out to one of these very rugged mountainous terrain, and I was running with it. I felt like something is different than other shoes. And that's when in my head was like, it must have a rock plate. And it does. Actually, the shoe, the S-Lab Spine, has a rock plate called the Pro Film. So this Pro Film actually gives you extra protection against rock bruises. Basically, when you go on this very rugged terrain and when you step with the shoe on a rock, usually you could feel the rock underfoot, right? However, with this Pro Film, it basically absorbs that feeling and it makes it more comfortable. Don't get me wrong, you still have a feel of the rock. However, just a much more mellow feel. So it's a pretty awesome thing what they could have put on this shoe. It makes it way more comfortable than I expected. Another reason why this shoe is so comfortable, I think it is the midsole. The midsole is a Salomon foam. It's basically a soft and cushioned EVA foam. I think it's an olefin base, just like in some other Salomon models, and that definitely helps you just throughout hours to don't have a fatigue foot. So that's really important. Good midsole, good fit makes a comfortable shoe. Now let's talk about one of the most important aspects of a trail running hiking shoe for rugged terrain is the sole and the grip. The S-Lab Spine features Salomon's specific contact grip, and in this case they have 4.5 millimeter lugs, which are actually pretty deep. They really work on most of the surfaces. I tried it on different places, very steep, very crumbly, rocky, dry, wet surfaces, and in most of the cases work very well. So what's happening in Hawaii with these wet rocks? They are basically microalgae on the rock, and when it gets wet, all those little microalgae get super slippery. So no matter what kind of shoes do you have, you will get slippery on those rocks. Other than that, I think the sole is pretty good. I would say it's still not as good as the Vibram Mega Grip lugs and soles. I still think Vibram Mega Grip is the best on the market. However, the Salomon Contra Grip, it holds its place pretty well. The S-Lab Spine features Salomon Quick Lace system, which I think is still one of the best lacing system in the market. I love how it works. You easy on, easy off. you can just tie it one time, and throughout your whole run or hike you don't have to worry about the lacing. And this is really key if you have a shoe which one you're gonna take out bushwhacking or off the beaten path. You really don't want your laces to get snagged on something and then you just have to stop and then tie it and then tie it again. Believe me, I did that with a lot of shoes and it can get really annoying. So the cool thing about this, you have the inner shoe, you tie it up, pull up your zipper over, and those laces are never gonna get even touched by any branch or anything. So you are always safe, you don't have to worry. Your feet is gonna be always like nicely locked in your shoe. It's awesome. That's one thing I think makes Salomon shoes are just really good for this kind of rugged terrain, the quick lacing system. Now, as I mentioned before, those active chassis on both sides of the shoe makes this shoe very stable on uneven surfaces or any kind of surfaces. So stability wise, it's a very stable shoe. The weight of the shoe is 328 grams. Now, a lot of people will say, "Ooh, that's a very heavy shoe." Well, yes, but why? It has a lot of protection, a lot of stability. It offers extra protection because of the upper, which actually makes this shoe heavier. As I mentioned before, this is not your everyday shoe. You are not going to use this all the time. You're not going to use this every day for training. This is a shoe where you're going to use maybe one time a week or one time in 2 weeks when you go out on your special exploration trip of the beaten path, you know. So this really offers, oops, that was a bird. So this offers a really good protection and stability, and believe me, I think it's really worth that sacrifice for that extra weight. And running with it, actually I didn't really feel like it's that heavy. Let's talk about the price. Yes, the price is $250. Yes, $250, it's a lot of money for a pair of shoes. But you have to think of this shoe as a long-term investment. This is not a shoe which one you're gonna run, 5 months and then you have to change it. This shoe actually is gonna last you, I think, maybe even years. Depending how often you will use it, I think this will last you 500 to 600 miles easily. It's a great investment. I think it's a good price. If you want to break down the price, just think about it. If you get an S-Lab shoe, it's $200. If you get a gator, it's about $50. So that's $250. But instead now you get S-Lab shoe and the gator in one piece. So basically $250. Just keep in mind, as I mentioned before, if you live in a hot, humid area like me in Hawaii, this shoe has its time. You're not going to use it all the time because it can get really hot inside, because this outer gator is not as breathable, so definitely can get hot. But just depending on your situation, what you want to do, where you want to hike, you can definitely use it. If you have any questions about this shoe, leave me a comment. I'm happy to help and answer. And yes, I think that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next time. Aloha.